All right. Thank you both so much for being here. I want to start out with just learning about your running, how you got into it. I'm going to start with Beth, since there's two of you today. Beth, how did you get into running?
I got into running after about a year after our son was born. I kind of suffered from some postpartum depression, and we lived in Savannah, Georgia at the time. And I went to this lake in Savannah called Lake Mayer, and I was just in my car watching people run around the lake, and they looked really happy. And I was like, maybe they're onto something. So I hopped out of my car and I challenged myself to run around the lake once, and I huffed and puffed. It was about a mile, maybe about a mile or so. And I got around and I felt really good. And I was like, that really was like the start.
Oh, I love that.
And
And
then
how old is your son now?
he will be
18.
no
Well,
19.
now he'll be 19
He'll be
in
19.
July.
He's 18 now.
18 now.
Yeah.
So you've been running a long time. What happened after that first mile?
Yeah, so then I decided to I got into like a couch to half marathon running group through Fleet Feet in Savannah.
Mhm.
And I trained for the half marathon, and I did the Tybee half in 2006. And so that was really the start. And then I did some triathlons after that. But then I had kind of a close call on the bike at a race, and I never got back on a bike again. And plus, I really liked the running anyway, because they had these high school students, doing the aid stations of the running, and they were so much fun. Like they just cheered, and I was like, the running was the best part, so I just stuck with running.
So half marathon, and then did you jump up to the road marathon next? Or did you pivot to trails?
Oh yeah. No, this was a big learning. This was a big lesson for me. So I did two half iron triathlons. So
Okay.
I really like stuck to the half marathon distance
Mhm.
with running. And I told myself that I didn't think that I could run a marathon
Oh,
for about, gosh, when did I do? Let's see, 2016.
Yeah,
About 2016, I did my first marathon. It took me that
oh,
long
wow.
to just finally say, well, you're not getting any younger and you might as well try. So like that was a big lesson. Like, you can really tell yourself you can really do more than you think you can. And it took me a really long time to figure that out.
What was the first road marathon you did?
Chattanooga.
Oh, very pretty. Very pretty. Okay, so 2016, that I'm so impressed because usually, people like immediately they start running and they just go 0 to marathon. And even now they'll go
Mhm,
to ultras so quick. And you
mhm.
really like just enjoyed a nice little pocket of running at a distance you were comfortable with and like loving.
Yeah, well, we had a big transition because we moved from Savannah, Georgia to Cullowhee, where we live now.
Okay.
And it's a lot of mountains.
It's a
So
lot more hills.
yes, yeah. So there was like I had to get used to like running in hills.
Got you. And so 2016 marathon, when did you step into the trail and ultra world?
Just later that year in 2016, I ran my first ultra in September. I did Hullabaloo
Oh,
50K. Yeah.
very cool. And at what point in time did it click over in your head that you should start doing the multi-day journey runs?
Well, Paul Heckard had told us about Vol
He's a
State.
bad influence. He's a
He's
bad
a
influence.
oh yeah, yeah, no. He told us about Vol State, and I really wanted to do it the first time I had heard about it, but it was probably a couple of years later before we actually did it.
Gotcha. Amazing. Okay. I love that. That is a long journey to like bump up the distances. I feel like that's the longest buildup that I've heard about so far. And I love that. Okay. Pivoting. Mark.
Um, so I've always liked more endurance activities. Like throughout graduate school, I was really into bicycling, and I would do 100-mile rides with friends. And when we moved to Savannah, I got into sea kayaking. and I would do races like the 26 to 52 mile distance and go out with friends and go around islands and stuff. And whenever we moved to the mountains, I just didn't really have any of that anymore. So I got into backpacking for a while, and I
cool.
really wasn't into running. Um, but there was an opportunity to go to Disney World with our kids, and Beth really wanted to go, and I wasn't very into it. And so we had an agreement that we would go to Disney World for a week, and in exchange, she would go backpacking with me.
Oh
She didn't have an
man.
interest in trying it, and so we went and did that. And anyway, it ended up getting her into backpacking. But we started just kind of seeing each other's activities a bit more, and I kind of got interested in the running as well. On some of our backpacking trips, we were talking about it, and we went to like Colorado. We were in Leadville, so I learned a little bit about the race there when we were backpacking.
Mm-hmm.
And 2017, I did my first 50K, and yeah, I don't have quite the longevity.
No, I don't think you did
2017.
No, because we did Bighorn in 2017.
So I did my 50K the same year.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, that was the first year. I ran Frosty for 2017. That was my first
Oh
one.
my gosh, that's crazy.
So I jumped into it a lot quicker than Beth.
What was it? Is it about the distances that attracted you all both? I mean, obviously, Mark, you were doing long distances on the bike beforehand, but what is it about the long distance that, really appeals to you?
I like just getting into my head. I like, sort of the time to just think, and, you're uncomfortable, but you can have some pretty intense thoughts during that time. And that's really what I enjoy most about it.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I would agree with Mark with that. It's really, yeah, I really like kind of getting into these low moments and then pulling myself out of them and stuff. I do. I don't know, maybe it's sick, but yeah.
Now, I don't know if this is true. This is just from like Facebook's talking, but have you all done the journey runs together?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So wait, on the journey run, did you all ever hit the low point at the same time?
Yes.
Yeah, that's happened.
I think we have a picture. We have a picture of us, but at a low moment.
How does that work in a dynamic of you both hitting the low moment at the same time in a journey run? Like, how do you get out of it?
We've learned to just stop talking to each other at times.
Yes.
There's a point where it's like we just need to both be quiet for a while and move forward and give each other some space.
Yeah.
The first time you did Ball State, you both did it together?
Mm-hmm.
That's what was kind of your plan of attack for the race? None.
We didn't really have one.
We were just out there to survive. We didn't know what we had put ourselves into.
Thing to do. People talk about plans and stuff like that, and we really didn't have any plan, and which was great because our first year the buses didn't show up at the start.
Oh.
Yeah. So we were supposed to leave at 7 a.m. and they didn't show up till 6 p.m.
We're there for 11 hours, just sitting outside talking with veterans, which was actually really valuable.
Yeah, very helpful. Wait. Okay, so then what time did you guys get to the start of the actual race?
So because it was so late by the time the buses got there that we didn't drive the course in reverse.
We
just hopped on the interstate. Yeah.
Got you.
I think we got to the hotel by like midnight, 1 a.m. and then we were up at 4 a.m. getting ready to go again. So we started out sleep deprived right away.
What a crummy start.
Oh, it just sets the tone for the whole race.
Yeah.
Like you just have to go with the flow.
Yeah. So, at the beginning of Ball State, you get on the ferry to get to the other side, right? And then you come back across, right? Mm-hmm. So the year that I did it, 2014, I think, the water was too high and they wouldn't take the ferry across, but they let us go stand on the boat. And then we had to do like that first little stretch. We had to like run up and down it a couple times to get the mileage we would have got from crossing the river. It was the most absurd start. But yours is more absurd. That's crazy. So on that first Ball State, what sticks out to you as like one of the most memorable parts of the race? besides finishing it, which is so lovely?
I remember, was it Gleason that we came into with that gas station with the kid?
Oh, it was Mackenzie.
McKenzie. We were still pretty early into the race. Mackenzie's what, like 40 miles in, 30? Oh, no, it's
past
after Gleason.
So it's
Past
like
Gleason.
50, 55 or so.
We came into this little gas station, and it was kind of going into the beginning of the second day, and we're really, really tired, really exhausted. And we go into this gas station, and Beth is getting some food, and there's this young kid, from the neighborhood who's just sitting in there, and he's like, "What are y'all doing?" And so I told him, "Well, we're doing this stupid race across Tennessee." I wasn't quite sure of what I got myself into at that point. And he's like, "Y'all are doing it together?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "I bet she talked you into it." Like, yeah, you nailed it. That was one memory I always had, though, from that first time.
Well, there was a lot of suffering during that first Vol State. I mean, your first time, it is so shocking how painful it is, and just how sleep deprived you are. And like through 2/3 of the race, I mean, we were both just like, what in the world are we doing? And we kept moving forward, and we're just like, we are never doing this again. And then we were up like, where Monteagle is and stuff like this. And I was like, I really think I want to do this again. But I can't tell Mark because he's going to be so mad.
And this is not the time to have that argument. This is not the time on the side of the road.
I had to hold it in. I was like, I can't tell him.
That's so funny. I mean, what I think I did when I first got into it, I'm someone who really researches, right? So I read all the race reports, I was on it. And I can remember just not having any idea of how badly my feet would hurt, right? It literally feels like someone took a bat just to the bottom of your feet. And I can remember, I don't even know, I was later in the race, probably 200 miles in, and I was between towns, and I was just crying with every step, just crying. If you hurt, and I listened to the Disney soundtracks and just started singing them out loud to distract myself from how I was like, I look like a crazy person right now on the side of the road. And then that makes you laugh and, makes you forget about your feet for 2 seconds. Yeah. It's amazing. How much emotion and how much you process just putting one foot in front of another for a few days. It's crazy. Okay. So you finished Fall State, and how long did it take you that first time?
8 hours or 8 days, 10 hours. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. That's an impressive, solid finish. That's so great. So when did you tell him that you wanted to do another one?
I think it was before we finished.
It was
right before we finished.
I think it was near the top of Sand Mountain, near the finish. And I'm like, we can't be discussing this right
I couldn't hold it in. I was just like, this is a lot of suffering, but I really love it.
Yeah. So what was the next race after Vol State?
In terms of journey races, or
either one? Yeah. What was the next event?
After that, I finished my first 100-miler. I ran Yeti 100. That was the first time I finished 100, was after Vol State.
I mean, you'd had the training for it. You were ready.
Yeah.
I think I ran No Business next.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's impressive. That's impressive. And
I love that race.
It's so beautiful out there, but also incredibly gnarly. Just incredible, the course that they have created out there. And it's a totally different beast than a Yeti 100-miler, right? Yeti 100-miler is lovely, lovely event. It's beautiful out there, but the ups and downs they make you do. What kind of training did you do leading up to the No Business? Because that's a different Vol State, Yeti, different.
Well, we're pretty lucky to live where we do. So we live only about 30 minutes from Great Smoky Mountains National Park. So I really went out there and just did loops on the weekends and, did 30-mile loops. And that's pretty much what I did. And I've run No Business 3 times and I've finished it twice.
Wow.
And I'm running it again this year.
Congratulations.
I really love that race.
Yeah. Mark, do you crew her every time?
Yep.
How do you guys
Yeah.
do being each other's crew in these situations?
Oh,
We do pretty
we
good.
do really great crewing each other. Yeah. Like I crew him at CGG, which is Coastal Georgia Greenway 155. And so that like goes the entire length of the Georgia coast.
Oh, wow.
And he's done that twice. And so like the first time he started in Savannah, went to St. Mary's, and then last year went St. Mary's to Savannah.
Mhm.
And we do really, I think we're a really good
job.
we do much better crewing each other than we do trying to run them together.
What do
We
you
tried
think?
running Tunnel Hill together and it just did not go very well.
Wait, it didn't go well at Tunnel Hill? That's not that bad of
Yeah.
a race.
No, but at 76 miles, we were like a couple minutes ahead of the cutoff. It had been raining, it was cold, and we were just like, the car's right there.
You're like, we could be done. Hold up. Let me get my dog quick. Radar, come here to me. I gotta get her.
I'm gonna throw a cat outside too.
Hey, come here. It's okay. Come on. It's okay. Come here. Come here. Come here. Say hi. Say hi. How terrible you're being.
Radar.
So my wife's a Tennessee basketball fan, and they're playing tonight. And our friend just came over that's from Arkansas, and they're playing Arkansas. It's a whole beef. They
Oh,
watch it
wow.
together every year. She made fried catfish and like a cheese dip. She's very ready. She's very ready. You know, it's funny. I have never been able to talk my wife into doing an ultra yet. And she's, you know, she's been to them. She's crewed me at them. I direct them now. No, she doesn't even like trail. She doesn't even like it. She's a road runner through and through.
He's a road runner. I like
Well,
trail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like more journey style, not into half marathon and marathon distance, but I do like the road more than trail, just because I get frustrated just with being in lines on single track and dealing with the passing, and a lot of the trail races I've run, you know, there's a big bottleneck and people are not able to pass, and I just don't like the stress of it.
But you do like the stress of it, Brett.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me that much. Like, I mean, it, you know, it, yeah, it's okay. It isn't, you know, it's short term,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, it
So
doesn't last
it's
long.
okay. It
You get
doesn't.
like a mile down the trail. It all
Yeah.
goes away. It all
Yeah.
goes away.
Yeah.
Radar, come here, my baby. Okay. I had a question. I lost it because my dog is being so rude right now. Radar, come here. Come over here. Come over here. It's okay. You're a good dog. Okay. Sit down. Oh, I remember what I was going to ask. What do you think it takes to be a good crew?
Tough love.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
That's a good answer.
What's
Yeah,
a
I mean,
situation where you've had to do tough love? Mark, I'll go with you.
at no business. You know, I've had to just make her get up and keep moving, you know, and just she's called me before when she's a few miles from the aid station, just ready to drop, and you know, just trying to remind her keep eating food and just keep moving, and just not giving her a chance to even consider dropping.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's I think I think it's helpful because we both do it, that we both understand that, you know, when you're in these low moments, you know, just to not like it's temporary, right? And when you're in a low moment, it doesn't seem that way, but the other person, you know, knows that it's temporary. And just yeah, to just get you to keep moving, you know. I mean, we've seen like we've gone to races and seen people's crew, and sometimes, you know, I think that there are really great crew out there that aren't runners that do a really good job of, you know, like, no, come on, you got to get going, you know. But a lot of times if they aren't, like, they see this suffering, right? And here's this person that you really care about, and they're just suffering. And it's so easy to just want to like take them out of that suffering, you know.
Yeah.
And so I think it's sometimes it's easy to, you know, be like, oh, okay, yes, I think you need to stop, whereas,
So,
I don't know.
so like one example was this year, Beth was running Bloody 11W, which
Okay.
is a
Yeah.
race that Lass had come up with the course, and
Yep.
other people have been putting it on for a number of years. Clay Vick is now the race director for it. And she had a goal, like she knew how quickly she wanted to do it. She was doing really well. I got a hotel room at Rogersville because she needed to
Yeah.
get to rest for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And got in there. She took a shower, ate something, went to sleep. An hour later, I woke her up and I'm like, you need to hit the road. She was not happy with me, but got it done and did really well. So
Yeah. That's
He was a
awesome.
great crew. Yeah, because I was really suffering near Kingsport.
yes,
And
that
I
was.
asked him to go up 1 mile.
I'd go 1 mile at a
time.
time to meet her, but she ended up winning the race. I mean, she won it outright. It was
Yeah.
impressive.
Absolutely. That's impressive. Oh my goodness. That's such a gnarly, beautiful, beautiful course to be
Oh, it
hitting.
is.
Great job.
Thank you.
Have you all done HOTS?
Yes.
How
We
does
did it
that
this
course?
past summer.
Oh, wow. How does that
Oh,
course
we
compare
love
to Vol
HOTS.
State?
Well, HOTS is a different course
Yeah.
every year. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a different course every year, and you don't know the course until you're driving it backwards.
Of course.
So you
Heck yeah.
get on the bus and you have no idea which direction you're
Yeah.
going. Like we get down the road and we're like, are we turning right or left? And so like the unknown, like not knowing where you're going is really exciting. And it's definitely a step up from Vol State. You have longer service deserts. And
you don't have the crew
elevation.
support, like the road angel support, right? Because no one
No.
knows.
Well, it depends on where you are in the pack. If you're in the front of the pack, no, because no one has any idea you're coming through.
Yeah.
But these days with social media, word travels really fast. So when you're where we are in the back of the pack, like we had some people come out, give us fresh fruit, Gatorades, popsicles, things like that, so like, but from what we've heard, like sometimes the people who are in the front don't get treated very well at all.
Yeah, that would make sense.
We're pretty like skeptical of like, who are these people,
Yeah, absolutely. How are you guys going to put in for, what is it called? The third circle of hell, which I'll explain really quickly because most people will not know what this is. You can only do the third circle of hell if you've done Vol State and HOTS, correct? And the third circle of hell is its newest concoction in East Tennessee, right? It's over in that area. And it seems awful. It seems like a really bad idea, guys.
It's almost 40,000 feet of elevation gain.
Yeah. And you guys go to the top of Frozen Head Tower, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But you all are doing it.
Yeah.
Yep, we're signed up for that. and we're signed up for HOTS again.
Yeah, we're doing HOTS again this year, and we're doing third circle.
When is the third circle of hell supposed to be? I can't remember.
August 2nd, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, good. It'll be nice and cool by then.
Right. Exactly.
In
yeah.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
It'll be nice and cool. I saw that course come through and I actually didn't even hear about the race until Jason Green asked me about it. He's like, did you hear what Laz is doing now? And I was like, no. And there was like some elevation chart on like Twitter that I saw. And then of course I joined the group and learned more about it. And I've got to tell you guys, I mean, I've done Vol State. I've heard of HOTS. I lived in that area, Sneedville, Burgoynesville, Rogersville. I would not be on the back roads looking like a vagrant. I would absolutely not be in that area.
About that. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, that's like rural country that nobody goes to and nobody's supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Unless you live there, How does your approach change from Vol State to HOTS to now this race, which looks to have like even less support?
Bigger packs.
Yeah,
Fair.
I definitely think we have to carry more and be prepared to cover longer stretches without any sort of support.
But the nice thing is, we're backpackers, and we really like to backpack. So it's kind of a nice in between, like backpacking and Vol State or HOTS like we've done before.
That's fair. That's fair. What is your favorite like journey run snack? Like if you find this over the course of the race, you're like stoked on it. I mean, everything tastes good, but
Mm.
I get to where I struggle to eat. Nothing appeals to me. I don't know.
I'm pretty happy with like crumb donuts and chocolate milk.
fair enough. Solid. Yeah. Chocolate milk is my go-to. It's my go-to. Or
Mhm.
ice cream. If I can get like ice cream or a
Oh
milkshake.
yeah. Oh yeah. There's like, oh man, I love those Toll House cookie ice creams
Oh
with
yes.
the chocolate chip cookies with the ice cream in the middle. I think I ate 2 of them at one stop and on Hots last summer.
I do
So
best if we can find like a hot meal somewhere and actually sit down and eat, not just eat
That
out of a
makes
gas
a
station.
that makes a huge difference. I mean, that's a huge morale boost. It's
yeah.
like when you can get a hot meal, that
Yeah.
does a lot of good.
I
Yeah.
always find like if you can figure out how to brush your teeth over the course of
Mm.
like a long, like that's just the most refreshing thing that just makes, I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
you're barely showering if you like at all, but if you can brush your teeth, it's like the most refreshing, like mental reset
Yeah.
on those types of
Yeah.
events.
Brushed our teeth in many a gas station bathroom.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's lovely.
Yeah.
It's
You're
lovely.
like,
Okay.
what are you doing?
When is hot?
June 14th, I
Okay.
think,
Okay.
or
I thought
mid-June sometime.
Yeah.
you just don't want to throw in Ball State in there too and just do them all back to back, guys.
Well, so we were, and I was actually in Ball State. And then we decided that it had been 2 years since we've been to Colorado,
Mm.
and we really wanted to go do some backpacking in Colorado. So we're going to do Hots,
Mhm.
and then we're going to go to Colorado and do some backpacking. And then we're going to come back and do third circle.
Oh my goodness. Do your kids have any interest in distance running at all?
They've been surrounded by it for a while. So
Yeah.
like, and not just running, but backpacking. We
Mhm.
dragged them the entire length of the Colorado Trail back in
Nice.
2016. But both of them have run up to a 50K distance,
Oh, wow.
but neither one of them are that or as into it now. Our daughter, I know, is planning to run a half marathon, and so
Sam.
is our son. They're
Mhm.
both training for half marathons right now, but I don't think they really have the interest in doing the longer stuff right now.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
well,
it's,
they're both in school too, so they're really preoccupied with that right now.
and you don't see a lot of long, like young people out on the journey runs. Like I remember the year I did Ball State, I think I was like 28 or 29, and I was the youngest
That's-
person that
That is pretty
finished.
Yeah,
young,
that's
right?
really yeah.
And so like, cause usually, I mean, I don't even know what the average age is, but I would guess somewhere in the 50s would be the
Yeah.
average age of
Yeah.
someone doing it. So, I mean, they've got plenty of time to get into
Yep.
it.
Well,
you know?
actually, our daughter did say that she is kind of interested in doing it. So she's doing study abroad this summer. So maybe in the next couple summers she'll
Come do Ball State. with
come
us.
join us.
I'm trying to convince my nephew because I did Ball State crewed, I should have done it the other way, but I'm trying to convince my nephew who crewed me during that event. He was like 14 or whatever when he crewed me, and he's
Oh,
22
wow.
now or something like that, to come and do it because he talked so much shit during the race about how he could do it when he was 14. He was like, we'd stop at a gas station, some other Ball Staters would come in, and he'd be like, oh, look at that old guy doing it. I could do this, so I'm trying to like con him into doing it in a couple years with me because I'm like, oh, you said it. Let's do it.
Yep.
Still exist. We've got to get out there. Do you guys have like a big dream race or a big dream, not even a race, but like event or trail or something that you'd like to do in the ultra space?
We have a few things we've talked about. I mean, we've thrown the idea around of maybe one summer attempting to do the Appalachian Trail,
Of course.
or even attempting a transcon.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think we've gotten very far with planning either of those things, but they're things we've discussed.
Yeah, we have all sorts of adventures in mind. We were talking about doing state by state, crossing each state, going from one end to the other, or we have all so many ideas in so little time.
Absolutely. What would you say to someone who's like just discovered Journey Run and is thinking about doing a Vol State or something like that? What advice would you have for them?
Probably to try a shorter one first, or even just have a friend drop you off in a neighboring town and just make your way back,
Yeah.
just taking advantage of gas stations and things along the way just to get a feel for it. I think one of the parts that's the most intimidating initially is just being around traffic,
Hmm.
so picking
Mhm.
roads that have good shoulders and, just getting out there and getting some practice before you actually try a race would be good.
Yeah. We do that just around here. Like, we've had our daughter drop us off in the next town, and we've come home, and we've done that several times around here, and it's just a ball. So something like that, or like Mark said, like a shorter distance race, like 100 miler or something like that, as a journey run, you
Hmm.
know, um, something like that to get a flavor. Because in that 100 miles, that your feet start burning. You start getting that, like, oh my gosh, what is this?
Yeah,
You
plenty
start
of time.
feeling that pain.
Plenty of time
But
for soreness to go ahead and start
yeah,
setting in, and you get through
but
it.
I love the journey style races. I would really encourage people to do it, because it really is a life-changing experience, I think.
How was it life changing for you?
Um, I think that, I guess I've just really struggled with my confidence. Like, I mean, it took me forever to finally run a marathon. And it was so hard. And I just, I don't know, it just was unbelievable that we did something that big. Um, and what I really love about it is I love meeting the people in the towns.
Hmm.
Like, I really enjoyed that a lot. Like, go into these little cafes or even gas stations where they serve breakfast. And there are people there that come there every morning, and they'll just talk to you. And I don't know, it's just so, such a different perspective. And you see so much when you're moving that slowly, like you see everything. And it's like when you drive in a car, you would miss so much, but you see so much detail in everything when you move that slowly.
I think
Absolutely.
it's also easy, when you go out for runs, a car will cut you off, honk at you or something, and just to feel frustration with people. But like I find when we do these journey races, you start to recognize that, there might be these people out there that aren't very kind, but 99% of the people out there are great people. They want to hear about what you're doing, they want to offer you help, and they're just it kind of gives you a different perspective of people overall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely. I
kind of
agree.
weird not it's kind of weird not to like run Vol State this year, because we've run it the last
4 years.
4 years, and it's like missing a family reunion.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
know a lot of people
You
that live
know?
along the course now,
Yeah.
and it's
We
yeah,
really love Vol State.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
we're
Yeah.
we're we're taking we're not doing it this summer, but I have a feeling we'll
Oh,
go
we'll be
back
doing
the
it
next
next
summer
summer.
if we can get in.
Yeah, I know it is crazy like how popular it has become and
Yeah, it's getting
how,
hard.
but it's funny. I mean, people drop out.
Yeah.
I can't even, I don't even know the numbers. I'm sure it's crazy how many people drop out that initially sign up, and you see everyone getting in off the wait list and then dropping off. And it's like, if you really want to get in, you could probably get into that race, because a lot of people have buyer's remorse.
Yeah, for sure.
I really love that you said that about just the people, because it is truly, you're seeing like the best part of humanity. And you're also getting to like spark curiosity in people that maybe like wouldn't ask you anything, but like you're showing up in this very awkward environment of being like, you look like you don't belong, and they're just curious about you. And I think that's so
Yeah.
fun that they're like, you're entertainment for their day of just going to the gas station every day. They're like, oh man, today I met these runners, they were doing this crazy thing. And it almost like, I think, I would hope, like spark something in them somehow. I would be curious if anyone from the Vol State course has ever come out and done it. Do we know this?
Yes. So there's been several. In fact, a number of
Yes.
years ago, we were going. I can't even remember the name of the town anymore. Was it Lexington? Where Steve Meyer, just past Lexington? we see all these signs for, go
Oh, yeah,
Steve and
Lexington, yeah.
everything. And we get to the elementary school, and the principal at the elementary school that year was running Vol State.
I love
And
that so much.
and ever since then, he's kind of set up a little aid station outside the elementary school every year. And, he comes out and talks to us each year. So.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love that
And
so much.
actually this year, when you look at the entrance list, there are people from like Lexington and Hohenwald and Hampshire and like all these towns that Vol State goes through, because I'm sure every year they see, runners come through, and it's true. People like they're so surprised that this even exists,
Mhm.
And yeah, I think it piques people's curiosity about it, and kind of like introduces to things that they just never even knew existed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you think, what is it, like 1% of the world runs a marathon, and usually the
Oh, wow.
marathon is seen at like the utmost capacity. I don't know. I've always heard that stat. Don't quote me on it though. I may have just made it up. 1% of the world runs a marathon. So most people think like that's the furthest distance anybody ever runs. And then when people learn about ultra running, it truly blows people's minds. They're like, you do what? For how long? And then even for us that know about these long distance races, then I hear of something like, what is it called? The Transcendental 3100 in New York, where they run 3,100 miles around like one block for like a whole month in the summer or something crazy. Like you hear about that and you're like, oh, I could do 314, but 3,100 is a stretch, guys.
Yeah.
That is a stretch. And so I think it's always like, it's like you don't know what the boundaries are sometimes. And then you all come along, you're like, oh, you can run more than a 5K. You can run 314. It like makes like you've not peaked. There's always some new challenge or something new to like push yourself towards. So I think that's cool. I love that people from the course came and run it. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So much fun. So are those your guys are just doing those races, or wait, you have like a million races. Hold up. We're doing HOTS, we're doing the Third Circle of Hell, and then you're doing No Business again, right, Beth?
Mm-hmm.
What else have you registered for?
I'm registered for Rim to River.
Oh, okay, cool.
And Charleston 100.
Okay, you're very busy. Very busy.
Yeah.
What does your training look like? Because I'm curious, I think of Karen Jackson, right? And she runs like a million ultras all the time, right? But doesn't seem to run a lot in between races from what I see. So I'm curious, like, what does your training look like at this point in time?
Well, it's interesting because I said that, when I had trained for No Business, I went to the Smokies and did loops around there, and I really loved it. I mean, I was really happy doing it. And then I wanted to run Hellbender, and we were set to run Hellbender, and COVID hit. And I was in like the best shape of my life. And that really, I think, COVID really took like a toll on my running and stuff. And then I tried getting into, because I just wasn't, I don't know, I was really struggling with running. So I thought I would try getting a coach and doing it that way, and had a great coach. And, at first I liked, the scheduled runs and things like that. But I don't know, it just wasn't quite, I don't know. I was struggling with COVID, and I just didn't find the joy. I wasn't experiencing the joy that I had pre-COVID, I guess.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So a lot of this was just COVID isolation and stuff like that. And I was injured. I mean, it just was like ugly, not a fun time. When you're injured and sidelined, like it's just not fun, you know? And so now I just have I really have been struggling I really wanted to find the joy in running again. And so I'm like, I'm just going to do what I used to do. And I'm just going to go out and I'm going to run on these trails. And so now I just go back to the Smokies and I just run the same loops.
That
and
sounds
and I love it. Like I've actually felt that just overwhelming joy in your heart, and you just can't even, you just feel so overwhelmed. Like I finally felt that again. And
yeah.
it had been so long since I had felt that.
Yeah.
So
I love
that's my
that.
training. I just
Just
go
finding the
on
joy.
the trails. Yes, that's what it is. It's all about the joy.
Yeah, absolutely. How about you, Mark?
It's
What's your
the
training look like?
journey and not the finish.
Yes. So at the moment I'm injured, so I'm not doing a
Oh,
whole lot.
sorry.
But in general, I just try to keep my weekly mileage up, like
Mhm.
ideally like 30 to 40 miles a week. And a lot of it's walking with some running mixed in. But I focus for a lot of the races I do, I focus on being able to walk really fast.
Yeah.
I can maintain when I'm better trained than I am now, I can maintain, 14, 15-minute miles pretty
Yeah.
consistently. And
Yeah.
so that's really the only reason I think I finished most of the races that I run. I'm definitely back of the pack, or I'm coming in like right in that last,
Yeah.
little hour of time.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
have totally different styles. I think that's why running together is very difficult, because I start slow, but I just kind of maintain it like slow the whole time.
Yeah.
He goes out really, really fast.
Yeah, I go out fast, I blow up, I just sort of like death march for a while, and then I panic run at the end.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Solid strategy. Solid strategy.
Totally works for him. It's impressive.
It's funny. When I was training for Ball State, I really focused on my walking speed because I am not I'm a back of the packer runner. I can only run so much faster. I was like, but let me really focus on walking. And so I've got my walking pace down to a 14-minute mile. And I've just kept that. That is just like my natural cadence in walking now. And let me tell you, it drives my wife insane. She's like, why are you walking so fast? And I'm like, I don't know. This is just how I walk now. I don't know what to tell you. This is just what I do. And she's like, I don't even mean to. We're talking and walking. I'm maybe like pushing the stroller, and I'm like 10 feet ahead of her. Next time I check, and I'm like, I didn't even mean to do it. And she's like huffing and puffing. She's like, slow down.
That's great.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It stays with you forever. It stays with
That
you
is a
forever.
solid strategy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate you both coming on the podcast and just being such a good vibe. I mean, Joe, my friend, just had such positive things to say about you. And as soon as I heard that you were journey runners, I was like, oh, these are my people. I need to chat with them and see what's up with them. Absolutely. I appreciate you all coming
We really
on.
Oh, it's great
appreciate
talking
it.
to you.
Yeah, this
I'm
is
going to
really
be following
fun.
you during Ball State. I follow it every year. So I'll be checking in and I definitely will be following you during the third circle of hell. Like I will just be glued, like refreshing, my feed to see what's happening with all of you out on the streets.
The exciting thing is that we're going to be having our 22nd wedding anniversary during third circle.
What a way to celebrate. What a metaphor. What a metaphor, guys.
Yeah.
That's so amazing and wonderful. Oh my goodness. I love this. You're like, ultra running couple dreams right now. Like this is what people want to find. I know a lot of people are always like, oh man, I just want to find somebody who loves to do ultras and like do this. And I'm like, okay, you can do it. You just have to like go to ultras, you got to meet them there. You just got to show up, it's funny, but thank you both so much for being so lovely. I appreciate you. I hope you have a lovely evening and just a wonderful year of racing.
Oh, thank
thanks.
you.
It's great talking with you.
Yeah, this is fun.